the live stream. All right, so first of all, just to get us started, what I'm going to be doing is we're going to be using Amazon. I did just enjoy Amazon Prime Day. I hope you guys enjoy Amazon Prime Day as well. Oscar, don't worry about it, my brother. I got you, man. I got you. Don't you see this audio coming through crispy clean? Oh, yeah, I got you, my brother. We're going to be checking out Amazon, and we're going to be pulling up some pretty important things. We're going to be pulling up some pretty important things as far as how to get our setup ready to rock and roll, and as well as essentially like setting it up for where, what my dream situation would be, something of that nature. Like, what would it really look like? So right now, one thing that I also wanted to do was show you guys what I am currently, what I'm currently rocking, what's currently happening with my studio as well. So that way you can kind of get a vibe for how I go live and what I'm using in my studio. That way you can see that. CBC Voter, what's up? And these are some essentials that I use for my live stream setup. Sometimes when I go out of town and I'm not at home and I need to do a live stream, I don't have all of these things available. And it really does make a difference. It really makes a difference. So I'm going to be showing you guys my setup as well, so you can see what that setup looks like. And then I'm going to look at some new items. I'm going to be doing under $1,000. I think we also should just do a couple of different types of setups. So we could do it under 1K. We can do like a unlimited budget, and then we can do like a under 500, like a budget style one. Like, what's the bare minimum, bare bones you would need to have like a really good live stream setup and everything like that. All right, so we're gonna do that today. So the first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna set up my camera here so that you guys can see my camera. So what I need to do is go into Oscar. I am aware that you can do side chaining in OBS. I am aware. It's just our intro music coming through. Oscar be having a lot of good ideas, man. It'd be a lot of good ideas, you know what I'm saying, all throughout, the chat everywhere. Y'all be having some real good ideas, man. So I thank y'all for y'all good ideas. I thank y'all for y'all good ideas. It's all good. So first I'm going to set up my floating camera here so I'll be able to show you. Let me see. What's this letter? BRF. BRF. 2C5L. And let me see if that accurately it did. All right, awesome. So now that accurately connected. So now I'll be able to show you my other camera. All right, so let's take a look at some of these things. So the first thing is our camera. We are using a Sony a7 III, and the lens on here, this is a Sigma Art lens. Okay, this is a 24 millimeter at 1.4. And when you are viewing this image right here, this is 1.4. Okay, the Sony has a crop in feature where you can crop in like this and we can get a little tighter. This is like a digital zoom. It's a crop in of the sensor. And so this is like, this is a pretty good shot. It's very like, focused on me. And what you can see is a good blur, like my drum set back here. This is a really good blur. That's from 1.4. And the brightness as well. Like, the studio is not that bright. We do have lights and everything like that. That does help with that situation to kind of brighten up my face and everything like that, while still having the color and stuff in the background. And we can even darken this a little bit. Let me see. Yeah, that's the other way. Let's go this way. We can even make this a little darker like that, so where it's like just not so bright and so so like boom in your face, right? So that is the camera. Okay, and I'm gonna zoom out as well. So we uncrop, and now we can see, like I said, I'm lit, background is darker, everything like that. And that's our camera that we're using. Let's go ahead and turn this guy back on. So what we also have is some lights. So this is one light dome that I'm using. This is a second light dome that I'm using. Hey, for the dream setup, don't do stuff like this. Don't use two different lights. It would just be better to use the same light. So the light that I'm using on the right, this is a Godox 60 watt. And this light essentially is just a light bulb with that softbox or whatever. So this is a square softbox, and it just has that one layer of diffusion. And this is a circular or round softbox, and it has a grid on it. And the grid helps for spill, as they call it. So when you normally would see my image, for example, when you normally would see my image, the rest of this would be lit up, right? The rest of the background would also be very bright. And I can give you an example of that. Computer, hair light off. Computer ain't trying to look. Computer, hair light off. All right. So there's computer. So you can see some of that light over there has also fallen, as well as the light on me, right? Like I'm a lot darker now, right? It's a lot smoother in here because we have that second light off. And so that's the difference between what those lights will do. So now that light is off and it's just this one key light. And so that key light is generating this image right here, right? And if I wanted, I could move that key light more to the right and kind of get like this fall off and shadow. But you can kind of see it now, like this right side of my face has that shadow, right? It's a little more shadowy over there. And so that's something that a lot of YouTubers and live streamers like to use. They like to use certain kinds of key lights to give you certain kind of looks, right? And if this light didn't have the grid on it, the grid that we were showing before, I'll show you right now. If it didn't have that grid, then the background would be a lot brighter. So it wouldn't just be me, but it would also be this, all of this would be a lot brighter. So that's what that grid is for, okay? We're gonna turn this guy on one more time. Computer, hair light on. I'm gonna turn that guy back on. Computer, hair light on. All right, cool. So we're gonna turn that guy back on so we can see some more stuff. All right, so we talked camera, we talked lighting. Okay, I'm gonna get to the microphone as well. Next thing I want to show is this guy right here. This is our Stream Deck. The Stream Deck is very helpful because Stream Deck allows us to be able to go to play our sound effects. So here's our sound effects right here. We got that one. We got that one. Applause. We got our bomb. And we got our laugh track. No. All right, cool. So I really like the Stream Deck because it allows you to just set up a bunch of different things. Not only the sound effects can you set up, but you also can set up your you also can set up different scenes in OBS. So if I press this button, it switches over to this scene. Press this button, switches back to this scene, and so on and so forth. See, we can just switch between these different, oh, this is a perfect one because now we can see both. We can switch between these different scenes that are here, right? So that's why I really like using the Stream Deck. Okay, last but not least, we have our microphone here, and the microphone that we are using is called the PD, where is this guy at? It's a PreSonus. It's the PD70. This is the microphone that we're using. It's a dynamic microphone, and dynamic just means that versus like omnidirectional, this microphone is looking for information coming in directly from the front or the top of this microphone, and it's rejecting sound around it. And so that helps with noise, that helps with noise, and it also helps with being a more directional microphone instead of it capturing audio from everywhere else, right? And that just also gives you that look, you know, it has that SMB look, the dynamic microphone look. I can prop this guy up a little more, and now it's boom, it's like right there, it's like a radio mic. It gives you uh that broadcaster feel when you're talking into the microphone. But there's also different ways that you can get audio in. You could also wear a lapel if you don't need to move around and do a bunch of stuff. You can also have a microphone like a shotgun microphone, which is directed overhead and it's just capturing audio. Also is directional. It's also a great microphone for that case as well. For it to be more directional, that would be a good microphone that you could use too, as well. One other microphone that I also used to use is the Blue Yeti. And one good thing about that is because it's a USB microphone, you can pretty much just get it hooked up and tuned in to your computer very easily, very quickly. Kenny Mac, what's up? You can get it hooked into your system very quickly. You can get it hooked in very, very quickly. Okay, and so that's another reason why we would want to use that setup. Okay, I think that's what the problem is. I have to get out of there. All right, cool. So those are some of the main situations. Those are some of the main things that I use for my live stream setup. And what I also wanted to do was go through and show with $1,000 budget, what else could we get, or how could we upgrade, or what else could we use for our system? Because also with this, we're also using our computer and we're using an interface. So we do have to have, if you're going to use a microphone like this, an XLR microphone, you will also need to have, oh, my camera just froze. You will also need to have, if you're using a microphone like this, you will also need to have an interface. So the interface that I use is the Scarlett 2i2, and this is like the first version of it. This is like the version 1 of the Scarlett 2i2. We're actually doing good. Usually I'm in the red on that meter, so that's good. We're in the green, so that's awesome. And that just lets you know like how much gain this microphone really needs in order for it to sound really good. I'm gonna turn this up just a little bit inside of OBS. And one other thing that you would have to keep in mind is how you're doing your streaming, or how you're doing your live streaming. So some people, do videos, they record videos into their computers or with their computers. They're probably already familiar with the program OBS, or Open Broadcast. They're probably already very familiar with that. But if you're not familiar with it, this is what it looks like. So this is OBS. It's running on my computer. And with OBS, you have the ability to hook up your cameras, hook up your microphones. You have the ability to, set up that stream deck to be able to switch from the different scenes that you develop. These are the scenes that I have here. My Sony scene, a Sony Zoom, Sony Thanks. Those are all my main cameras. And then of course I have an intro scene. So these are just some of the scenes that I have created. It's very easy to create a new scene and, get things going. But this is a software that you can use, and it's completely free. Another software you can use is called Prism. Prism Live Studio. And then you can get into the more paid services as well. Some of those paid services are pretty decent. You can get into, for example, Ecamm Live. If you have Mac, if you have Apple, if you have Mac, you can get Ecamm. And Ecamm is one that I've seen a lot of creators use because of some of the benefits and some of the utilities that you have access to right out of the box. So some of the things that I can do in OBS, I had to go and install plugins and install things in order to be able to do it. Whereas when if I was just using Ecamm Live, for example, I would just be able to have access to that from the beginning. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch over to Amazon now that we've covered most of the basis, and let's just start looking at some of the things that we could get. So the first thing I was telling you guys about, or one of the things I was telling you guys about, was Stream Deck. Stream Deck is really awesome. I use it a ton in my live stream, and I notice the difference when I don't have the Stream Deck available. I definitely notice the difference. Now, for what it is, there are some alternatives, but I'm just going to tell you, like, I wouldn't go for the alternatives, guys. I would just go straight up for the one, just grabbing one of these guys. Like, you could just get a number pad and like set up the shortcuts, but honestly, nothing is as sleek as this. And like, you can customize your icons, you can use GIFs, you can use a lot of different things. So we're just going to add to cart. I think this is one of those things we definitely want, you definitely need. Just add it to cart. Okay, it's worth it. So we're gonna add that guy to cart. Stream Deck, and you have different options. They have this newer one here, and if it wasn't for the fact that it only has 8 buttons, I would tell you to get this one. But I would just say for the first one, it's a little pricier. I would say just get the original Stream Deck. And this one is cool because it has knobs. And it's one of the things that the original Stream Deck does not have. So it is one of those things that I would suggest, but maybe not for now. I think we'll be okay for now. We can just get that original Stream Deck. Now, if we wanted to continue in the Elgato realm, we could just get, you know, all things Elgato. Like, that could be a thing that we could do because they have everything for you. They have capture cards. A capture card is important because this is what you would use to get your camera into OBS, right? So 2 things about that. I used my cell phone in order to show, here's my cell phone, and I'm using a program called VDO Ninja. VDO Ninja is the software that I'm using. Essentially what you do is you go to your phone and you go to videoninja.com or video.ninja, something like that. That's the website. And you set it up to send your video file into OBS. And then on OBS, you just need to set up a browser. You set up a browser, which is this. So as a source, you would go to add a source, and these sources pop up, and you would select browser. Okay. And then from there, after you select your browser, you would input the URL right here. And that URL you would get from your phone. So there's a couple of steps, but it's not anything like, if you wanted to be able to do this, right? Like imagine like now, right? Like now I can get up. Like, of course, I don't have my microphone with me, but I could seemingly get up and be able to, like, you know, move around the studio, show you guys different stuff. Here's our drum set. Like, to be able to do that, is a pretty good benefit. You know, you can have your regular camera, and then you can have a free flowing camera that you can use. I think the steps are worth it, right? And if you didn't want to buy the capture card, that's another reason why you could use that setup, right? So instead of having a capture card, you just use your own cell phone, and it could be any cell phone or any device that has a browser, seemingly, you could do that. If you wanted to go the capture card route, there's a couple ways you could go the capture card route. You could use the capture card that plugs into your computer, and that's also beneficial because it's a card that literally goes into your computer, just like it shows right here. Or you can use what I use. I guess I'm going to be switching back to my camera again. You can use what I use, which is this guy right here. This is called a Camlink 4K. If you use the Camlink 4K, then you can use an HDMI card and any HDMI you have. So if you have a HDMI for a video game, if you have an HDMI for a camera, whatever your HDMI is going to be using, it could be even another display, right? It could be whatever you have going. HDMI in comes into the capture card, and then from USB goes into your computer. You see, that's the setup. So Camlink 4K is another thing that you could use for that. So even if you didn't want to use one of their capture cards, like this is a much more advanced version of their capture card. For streaming, it has where you can plug into the capture card, go into the computer, and also have it come out and go into a monitor or a computer screen. Those things are useful for that. If you want to do something like that, you could use this one, okay? Or you could just get the Camlink. So Camlink 4K. I like the Camlink. It's pretty reliable. It is a little costly at $93 versus you could get one of these knockoff versions. And this is you could get a knockoff version. You might be okay. Your latency might be a little different. Your refresh rate might be a little different. The actual image, like, is it going to look 4K or is it not? All of those things might be a little different, right? So those are things that you would have to look out for if you were to buy one of those cheaper version capture cards, right? So it's totally up to you if you want to get one of those cheaper capture cards. I tend to just go for that capture card because I've used it so much. I just trust it. I trust that capture card because I've used it. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to cart as well. Okay. So we have a capture card for our camera, and we also have the Stream Deck. And now we need to let's go ahead and choose a camera now. So I like Sony because their autofocus is really, 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 really good. Okay. So some of the Sony options. So if you're like me and you use your camera for other things, that's when it's going to be beneficial for you to use something like the camera that I have, right? If you're going to use like a digital camera where you're going to take pictures with it, you're going to do video with it, it's not just going to be dedicated for your setup, right? Like, then you would use something like that, right? And you're going to spend a couple extra dollars because you're going to get another lens and things like that. But if I had it to do all over again and I had my choice, I would get something like the ZV-1. The ZV-1 a little more on the budget side, especially because we are trying to get under 1K. And there are a few features why I really like the ZV-1. For one of those things is because, as you can see, the hinge, it has a flip out screen. So you will be able to set up you'll be able to set up how you want your camera to look versus, trying to figure it out, or versus, struggling with it, or, trying to like, oh, okay, it goes here, goes there. Like, no. Once you'll have that flip out screen, you'll be able to set it up. Then you can send it into OBS and you know that everything is good to go. Okay. You don't have to fight with it. And that's why I would suggest something like that, because it's already set up, it's ready for you. It's good to go. Okay. That's why I would suggest something like that. And for the price, it's not a bad price, right? So you will have the ability to send HDMI out, and you will have a clean HDMI signal. And that's another thing that's really important. Okay. Chris, what's up, Chris? Welcome to the live stream. I need one for music videos, a quick one for now. Hello, Chris Crew. Yeah. I mean, for music videos, you could really get by with a lot of different things. For music video, you might want to actually hire a videographer and just, like get the budget set away with them, and just hopefully they give you a good deal, because then that way they're bringing their great audio and their great video, and they'll do the editing and everything like that. But if you wanted to do your own music videos, your phone, right? Like I was just showing you guys, your phone, man, you could probably, if you already have something like an iPhone 10 and up, anything like that is going to have a really decent camera on it. I guess I should mention that as an option. So if you don't want to get a dedicated camera, which I really think that you should, get a dedicated camera, get it plugged into power, get a dummy battery, for example, and just have that thing just there. My camera is just here. It could just stay here. So it's a lot of different options, right? For your live stream, I would say get a dedicated camera If you just can't do it, if even 1,000 is too much, that would be on the budget side. Just use your cell phone. You can use your cell phone for live streaming and stuff like that. So we're gonna add the camera in as well. It comes with its own, lens and everything like that. So you don't have to get a lens or anything like that. So right now we're looking at $800. So seemingly, hopefully, you have your own computer, right? But even if you don't have your own computer, we have everything essentially that we need. And there is this mini computer that I saw that can handle some live streaming capabilities. It came with a pretty good processor. It was like a Ryzen. I'll show you. It's a mini computer with a Ryzen 5, has a Ryzen 5 processor in it. Yeah, we might have to sneak by a couple of dollars on our budget if we don't have a computer. Seemingly, if you have a computer, then you could put this last $200 to something else. If you don't have a computer and you need a computer, then you're gonna have to squeeze in a few more dollars. So here's a couple of these mini computers. So this is like the PC version of what you would get with like a Mac Mini, for example. So with this mini PC that you could get 270, 240 on the, on the light side, you get something like this. This has enough power for you to be able to live stream with. Okay, it has just under what you want, to be able to live. So don't do anything super crazy, ultra HD streaming or anything like that, but you could do it. You could get it done. Okay. So right now, when we add that computer in, if we need that computer, it is going to push us over for our $1,000 budget, but not by a lot. Not by a lot will it push us over. And I think if we needed to, we can make some changes to this cart and say, oh, we need more, we need less, or, something that we need. Okay. So we have a great camera. We have a great camera. We have a camera. We have a camera. We have a capture card. We have a mini computer, and we have the Stream Deck. So with this setup, our audio is going to be coming from our camera. One thing that we can do from there, we could just get a lapel. We could get a lapel microphone, not anything like that, but even just like the Rode one is really good. But I mean, you could even just find one of these really cheap lapels like this. This is $12. You could get something like this. You can add this to cart, and you just connect that to the camera, connect it to the camera's recording side, and then now you have a lapel that's on you, right? And you have some better audio than the audio you're gonna get like from the in-body camera. You could at least have the lapel connected to you, and then that just limits you from being able to like really move around. But this is pretty much like what we could do for $1,000. If we really needed to get under that, I guess what we would do is we could change some of this stuff up. What I want to do is there's some ways that we can change some of these items up, right? So for example, maybe we get rid of the Elgato Capture Link and we get rid of the Stream Deck, even though I don't think you should. I really don't think you should. iPhone and a gimbal for music videos. I've used that for some music videos that I've shot. Actually, it's not undoable. So let's say you needed a computer. Boom, you got a computer. I'm gonna even get rid of this, for example. So let's just say we got computer and a great camera. We're gonna get that capture card. We're gonna get one of those cheaper capture cards just to make sure that we're not spending so much on the capture card. And let's see, let's grab this guy. This guy's only $10. So we get the cheaper capture card, and then they have some really cheap what are they called? Audio interfaces, because you are going to need an interface, because I'm thinking like, let's go cheaper on some things and then let's pull in an audio interface. So there are a couple of one, actually the Vocaster, I think is what it's called. The Vocaster. Yes, this is from Focusrite. This is called a Vocaster 1. This guy is pretty good. We can add that to cart. It's $50, right? It just plugs right into that mini computer that you have, and it's pretty small. Like you probably could attach these two items together. What up, DL? I'm doing well, my brother. Good to see you. You probably could attach these two items together with like some Velcro or something and like have your stream on the go, right? But let's say we have that Vocaster. So now we have a way that we can get in. We have a way that we can get in a microphone. Let's go ahead and add in the XLR cable because we're going to need it. And then a dynamic microphone that we could use. Oh, I guess I could have showed you that too. But this is a really great one. I love the Pod Mic. It's pretty decent. They have a really great one from Shure. I think it's this one because you can do XLR. They have a microphone where you can do XLR or you can do USB. And I think it is the Shure. Let me see. What's our budget looking at like right now? We're still under 1,000. If we spend a little less, we can get under 1,000 and have some good stuff. So let's see. Let's say we want to have a microphone. Let's see. The Fifine looks like it comes with a boom arm. All right, cool. So let's see that. Let's get that guy. We got to get Prime if we want to try Prime. Nah, I don't want to do that necessarily. Let's go back. I just want to be able to add it to cart right now. Okay, this one has like a little stand. We can use this one, or we can maybe find another one. Here's one. Oh wait, that one's $80. So let's look at our cart now. So now we have a XLR microphone. We have an XLR microphone, we have the cord, we have an interface, we have a capture card, a mini computer, and we have a camera. So we have more than enough, right? In terms of for a live streaming setup, and we are under $1,000. So I think we hit that challenge right there. With a computer, we also were able to grab all of these items and be able to have a streaming setup. Now, only thing missing from here would probably be like we got it like $10. We just need a camera tripod. I don't even use a tripod necessarily on my setup. For example, I have tripods, but what I mean to say, like, this is not a tripod. I'm actually using a microphone stand. So my microphone stand has an adapter that fits into my camera. And the reason why I have it like this, because it has this circular base. And the reason why I have my camera like that is because I don't want to have to deal with the tripod legs. And I really only need it to go up and down. Like, I don't need it to tilt or like swivel. I don't need it to do any of that, right? So I pretty much just have it on one of those, and that's something that you could do as well. Now, I had that microphone stand, hanging around. I don't think it's necessarily 10 or 15 bucks, but if we look right here, we can see that here's a tripod that we could get. Amazon Basics tripod, we could get that one. Tabletop is what you would need to put. See, so most of the tabletop ones still have those legs and stuff like that, and I just need it to be more of a flat base. Those legs are like really, if I just can keep it real with you, that's not the way you want to go, especially nothing like this. I hate them. Every time I use it, I hate them, man. I hate them. So I would more so look for something with a flat base. That would be what I would be trying to look for. If I couldn't find something like that, I think that would be what I would suggest, depending on if you wanted to be on a tabletop or if you just wanted a regular tripod. So let's just assume you just want a regular tripod. There was one right here, 15 bucks. And for the under $1,000, we're just right there at $3 over. We're $3 over, but I think those $3 is worth it. We have a pretty good setup for a live stream, okay? You have camera, computer, capture card, you have an audio interface, you have cords for your audio interface, you have a microphone, and you also have a tripod for your camera. So you pretty much have everything that you would need in there. Let me see. You need a HDMI cable. You just need an HDMI cable. It's like $5. Just get you a HDMI. It would be probably mini to full. It would probably for that, I think for that camera, it might be one of these, a mini to full. So that's $10. Or if it's not a mini to full, it's probably a micro to full. The one that I have is, yeah, this size. For my Sony, it's a micro to full. So you just need one of these. So this one, this part plugs into your camera, and then this part plugs into the capture card. So that's not bad at all, right? You could easily just grab $10 more. Okay, so now we're at 1,013. That's not bad. You know, that's not bad. That's doable. That's doable. That's the bare minimum that you would essentially need. I'm trying to see if there's a way we could squeeze out any more dollars to just get us directly under 10. Unless you already have something, or you want to just put your camera on a table, or, you know, something of that nature, then you could definitely get by with this setup. Now, that's $1,000. If you already have a computer, we can get rid of this computer right here. This is cool, a little mini computer with a Ryzen 5 in it. Like, that's pretty decent. But let's say we could just delete the computer. We could delete the computer, have $774. That means we could go back and we could put in that Stream Deck. That's something that I would add back in. Add in that Stream Deck. Also, with this setup, we don't have anything in terms of if we want to be on camera. If we want to be on camera and have, you know, good lighting, and, you know what I'm saying, and we want to, you know, have this kind of a setup, then we have to have lights. Okay. Remember, I showed you earlier, I'm using lights. If I don't have lights, then this camera doesn't look how it looks. So we are using these lights, these studio lights here, as well as the lighting that's coming from, you know, the lighting that I'm using down there, right? So those floor lights that I'm using, I have the smart lights that's going up there. All of those lights, those all play a part, right? Those all play a part in how we get the image that we get once you get right here. Or I don't know, maybe even right here, like whatever image it is that you're seeing. So lighting does play a part. Okay. So assuming that we have a computer, thanks Dio, assuming that we have a computer and we want to keep everything else, then what we could do with our newfound, I really need to change this button because I want to use this. I'm going to just do this on the side. Seemingly, if we have a computer, then what we could do is we could use man, what's up? Oh, I don't want to use backspace though. Let me see. Hit control. What other button could I use? Maybe that one. Okay. So the price that we have right now, you know, we're like $700 or so. If we wanted to have we have a camera, so we definitely want to get some lighting. Okay. So as I was saying before, I have a Godox light. I think it's 60 watts. So I'll show you what this Godox 60-watt light I'm using is. I believe it's this one right here. So for $100 about, you grab this light, okay, for about $100. So we can add that to cart, and it comes with I think it does come with like a light stand. If I'm not tripping, it should come with one of these. If not, they're not that expensive. You could get something like that, and we're still very much so under budget is in terms of that. So you could get one, you could get two, you could have that as a key light. Every time I want to look for these lights, I can never remember the name of them, but man, they have some really good LED lights. Let me see if it says the I'm sorry, let's do LED studio lights. Let's see if it shows the Neewer is pretty decent. Okay, so Neewer, if you get the full color, and put full color. No, I didn't spell that correctly. But Neewer is not the brand I was thinking of. I'm trying to see if they have the other brand. Because every time I see somebody with one, they look really great. I want to say it's these, the GVM. Man, those lights, they make anybody look good. They make everything look good. They're just good lights. So if you don't want to pay the price for GVM, pay pay the price for the GVMs, you could pay the price for Neewer, okay? And then what you could do is you could use these as your color lights like I have, okay? And now they want you to set up with try and prime and everything like that, but I don't want to try with prime. I just want to get it. I just want to buy it. But let's use these, the GVMs right here. Let's go ahead and add to cart. I think we're a little over 1,000 now. So now we're over 1,000 by a couple $100. But even if we wanted to, we could take off that other light and then get the 2-pack GVM lights. One light could be for your color and one light could be for your lighting. Whoa, get out of here with my debit card information up. Let me see. Check the cart. All right, so let's get rid of, for example, we'll get rid of the Godox. That's the main key light. And instead we'll use one of these lights as a key light and we'll use the other light. We'll use one light as a key light and the other light as a color light. So now we're looking at, 1,034. Okay, you know what I'm saying? And that's something that you could do, right? So with that set up, now we have all the things that we had before, but now we also have lighting. Assuming that you have your own computer. That's what this setup is saying. You have your own computer, so you only need these items. And as long as you get these 8 items, you have everything you need for your live stream, right? And then you would just need to get OBS. DL says, I need a camera, capture card for my laptop, and lights. So, pretty much what you would have here, this is what you would have. You already have a laptop. So you would just have seemingly this setup. So this is still $1,000, right? This is still a lot. So the next step would be, okay, we need to just let's go down. We need to go further down, right? So we're going to go even further down. So let's try to get this as cheap as possible. We're going to take the lights off. We're going to use whatever computer we have. We're going to take the camera off, and we also don't need a capture card because we take the camera off. I think we should have really good audio, and Focusrite is great for audio. So let's go ahead and keep the Focusrite Vocaster. We'll keep the cables. We'll keep the same, the cheap-ish dynamic microphone kit. We'll keep that. We don't need a tripod because we're not going to use that. Okay. This is the cheapest version that we can get. We also don't need that HDMI cable. So this is just audio setup so far. And then I would say webcam, right? So one webcam that I use the Logitech webcam. Here we go. And then I think I can show. Here's our Logitech webcam. So this is the webcam that I use. It's a decent webcam. It's not like, crazy awesome or anything like that, but depending on your settings that you use, you could get some decent, you got to do your settings, right? So right now the settings is not for my face. The settings is for this top down view. Okay, so these settings work well for this top down view. So that's what I use for a top down view. So we could look at this webcam, for example. So this is the Logitech. What up, DMG? We are checking out some live stream setups. So here's the Logitech webcam, for example. I think this is the exact one that I have right here, actually. This is the one that I have. Here's one straight for $50. Let's just grab that one, $50. It's a 1080p webcam. So that means it's webcam going directly into your computer, right? So you don't need much. You don't need anything else. You just plug it right in. You got the webcam. So if you have a computer and we get these items, we're looking at under $200. I think that's good. You could get by. You really could get by. Even looking at the webcam from here, it doesn't look, this looks good. This looks 1080p. I could get it to look how this looks up here, but you have to go into the settings. You got to go into the webcam settings. You got to go into OBS settings. It won't be, super blurry background like we got with this camera, nothing like that. but it is doable, right? It's doable. You could do it with that webcam. So we have a webcam. Maybe even if you have a laptop with a webcam, you could get this webcam, and in that way it's off of your laptop. 1080p most of the times from your built-in webcams. If you just buy another webcam, most of the time they're going to look a lot better. Okay, most of the time. They even have a 4K Logitech webcam. Okay, they even have this. It would be one like this, the Brio 4K, for example. This is something that's optional if you wanted to go with a 4K feel, a 4K in terms of the resolution that it outputs. But it's not to say that it's gonna be, like I said, the camera is very small. You know, when you looked at my lens, you can see my lens is like, the lens is huge, right? So it's just the difference that you're going to see. But instead of the 1080p, you could get that 4K, right? You could obviously get that 4K as well. Now, so that's if we have our budget at under $200. That really is a really good budget. Even if we wanted to, now we can just go as bare bones as we want. Okay, we're not gonna go with this microphone because that microphone needs a cable and it needs an interface. It just needs too much. $50. Hold on. Best Buy had this set up. Best Buy had the Blue Yeti microphone, and then it was the webcam combo. Okay, let me see. Right there. Boom. Let's get it done. We go even cheaper. Go to Best Buy, because we already placed in this Logitech here. We add in the Blue Yeti. The Blue Yeti is a USB microphone. The webcam is USB. You could get both of those, 170, both of them under 200, and you would essentially be doing the same thing, right? So I'm gonna go here with Amazon Blue Yeti. They have a bunch of different ones. I like this one, the black one. I like this one for whatever reason. I just liked it. They have different styles. They have different versions, but I like this one. So $129 for this one. We added the cart. It's basically the same price, right? It's just now you can see the prices that we're looking at. $50 for the camera, $120, $130. We're looking at $180 for these two. Decent microphone without having to get a whole interface, without having to do a bunch of cables. You got one cable for each of these. That's it, right? And the really great thing about these, I actually really like these options because it's less things that you have to hook up. And a really great thing about it is if you're using OBS, you're more than likely going to find it immediately. It's going to pop up. It's going to be able to be added in as a source. Or if you're using something like StreamYard, like we were talking about using OBS, right? We were talking about like using OBS instead of using StreamYard. I'm going to sign in real quick so we can see this guy. If you're using something like StreamYard, for example, or Restream, or just anything like that. If you're using something like that, let's go into the let's enter the studio here. So I show you guys what StreamYard looks like. If you're using something like this, then you can decide what microphone it's using and what camera it's using. And usually, like here, it'll just find it right here in this list. So see right here, this list, when you go to StreamYard, it'll just find it. I don't want it to use my cam link because I'm using it as my main camera here. And it'll just find it, right? I'll use this one as the audio. And you hit allow. For whatever reason, well, I know the reason. The reason why is because, let me see. It's because I'm using it already, but I'll just do that. All right, cool. So it'll find it for you, right? Just put Chris, enter studio. And this is what StreamYard looks like. So StreamYard is cool because they make it a lot easier for you to get right going, right? So like if I add this to stage, so this would be my camera. If I was using the Elgato Screen Link. That's something that you also could use in order to, same way that we use with my phone, the same way you use my phone, you can use that there to use your phone as a webcam. We could use my webcam, but there should be one other way we could use it. I'll show you right now. Let me see. I should be able to change this camera. OBS virtual camera. There we go. So I'll show you what, now we have it there. See that? Now we have, I'm everywhere. Here's my OBS virtual camera. So what it's putting into StreamYard is whatever I have coming out of OBS, right? So it's possible that we could do that. We could just have OBS running that, right? So OBS is seeing whatever I'm putting over here. That's what OBS is seeing. Let me get back to this view so that you can see what I'm saying. So it makes it easier for you to live stream because you can, you can set up how you want your live stream to look. And all you need is that camera and that webcam, and you can start live streaming. But it's just not as customizable as using something like OBS. So it's trade-offs, right? This one makes it very easy for you to see your chat, for you to see your comments, for you to make banners, for you to like make a lot of things that will improve your live stream. It makes it really easy for you to do it, but it's less customizable, right? Whereas if you're using OBS, it's very, very customizable. Okay. So, but I'm just wanted to just show you guys what StreamYard would look like. And then for you to like take off the logos and stuff like that, you got to actually pay for it per month. So along with the price that we had, for this mic and everything like that, you also got to include, along with the price that we have for this, you also got to include how much it costs for you to be able to have StreamYard, right? You also got to include that in the price. Now, let me see what DL was saying. How well do you think you can get the video to look if you use a tablet as a video source? Is it possible to patch that into a live set? I believe it is possible. Let me see right now. Hold on real quick. So everything really is based upon what you're using. So I have my iPad right here. And like I said, with that website that I was using, you just need a tablet that has internet access. So on this tablet, I'm going to go to Video Ninja, VDO Ninja. I'm going to sign into there. And it just depends on what tablet you're using, right? If you have, what the tablet is, what the Wi-Fi, and I think I need to fix the Wi-Fi on this actually. What kind of camera it has, like that's going to be the determining factor, because this other one that I'm using, like it's decent. This my iPhone camera is decent. If I come here, if I turn this guy on, here's my iPhone camera. This is the front facing camera. It's decent. It's not bad. Right now you can't, let me see if there's a better way I can post this guy up. Not really, but my point being is like, this is the iPhone camera. I'm setting up this other one real quick. Give me 1 second. Share password. Yes, thank you. Okay, done. Come back with my camera. There we go. My bad. So I'm setting it up on my iPad, and then I'm going to switch over to my iPad so you can see the iPad as well. So anything with a web browser, Safari, Google Chrome, if your tablet can handle that, then it should be able to handle this website, which is called Video Ninja. But like I said, Elgato has a screen link. They have a screen link thing that that they also can use as well. It's just the process for setting this guy up that takes the most time. Is just setting up what microphone you want to use, what camera you want to use. We'll hit start, and let me see. I'm setting it up on my iPad. I had a very hard time getting OBS to record video and audio at the same time. It didn't work for me. Maybe I was making mistakes. Yeah, it's not sure exactly what was happening, but it should just work in general, right? Um it should have. It should have worked. Not sure why it wasn't working necessarily. There it is. All right. Add your camera to OBS. Now I have the button. So on my iPad, I'll show you right now. See, it says right here, it says add your camera to OBS. So this is Video Ninja. I'm going to click add camera to OBS. And then from there, it's just going to ask you some stuff. Well, that's not right. I was just doing something. This thing irritated me. I'm gonna get this set up. I know how to do it because it's on my phone. I just wanna be where you are. Oh, so that was the budget side of things, right? We gotta get into the baller side of things, man. We got to get into the baller side of things. Have you been to the ocean lately? No, I haven't. I need to go. Oh, there it is. Okay, here we go. Now we hit allow. And here we go. So it's popping up on my, oh, here we go. So this is essentially what it looks like. So it's getting ready to add me. I'm going to hit start. So now I have it set up on my iPad. And then what it does is it has this number that you have to use. So it has this hello? Oh, that's weird. I had it on the front camera. Switch it to the back camera. It has this number that you have to use right here. So it has this string of information, Video Ninja /view, yada, yada, yada. So you have to use that in OBS, right? So inside of OBS, you then have to set it up to use that. So I'll go here and I'll show you how I'm going to set it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to browser and I'm just going to choose, I'm going to set this up as a new source, iPad. I'm going to select iPad. And then in here, I have to change this value to match what is on my iPad. So I have HTTPS // and then I have to type this in. Sometimes I'll send it to myself. I'll copy and paste and send it to myself as a what's that called? I'll just copy and paste it to myself. So I have to input this information. Yes, view equals J. Is that capital J? That looks like a capital J. 9 S Q D M J. Okay. And then that's there. And then actually, technically, anybody using that could be able to get this camera as well, right? So here we go. So now that camera has appeared. Here's that camera. And this is my iPad, right? So the same way that I did it with my phone, now this is my iPad. So I can essentially show you two of them. Let's see. I have iPad there. Here's the other one. Here's this one here. Trying to set this guy up. You could basically have multiple cameras, right? Is what I'm trying to say. I'll go ahead and add in that browser from iPad. So here's iPad as well. And then this is the iPhone. All right. iPhone, iPad, and then there's the Sony. So iPad kind of looks similar to how the webcam was looking, right? You know, the face is blown out in terms of it's too bright, right? It's too bright. The phone can't handle it. It's too bright. But it's there. And then if we switch over to this guy, boom, boom, look at that. Appreciate you, man. I've been working on them. You know what I'm saying? Been working on the waves, been working on them. So, this one is the iPad. That's right here. This one is the iPhone. That's right here. And this one is the Sony. That's right here, right? So we have a multi setup now, right? So the only other thing that I've ever had an issue with in terms of this, the main thing is just battery life. The battery life is just the main thing. So if you have I can have my camera, I can have my iPhone on the bass, you know, on the drum set, right? I can have my iPad over there on the piano set. And now you have a multi setup, right? And in OBS, what you do is you just get fancy with it, right? So now in OBS, I say, okay, I'm gonna show you guys OBS. And I say, okay, I need to set this up to where I have all three of these, you know, on their own scenes, right? So I'm gonna come over here. You can see my split view. I'm gonna just duplicate this and I'm gonna call this iPad. Okay. And so now I have an iPad scene and I'm gonna get rid of my Sony. I'm gonna get rid of the Sony. Oh no, that's the iPad. That's what I want to keep. I'm gonna get rid of this one and I'm gonna get rid of this one real quick. I just want it to be the iPad. Okay. So I'm gonna pull this guy up and now I have my iPad scene. Okay. Boom. Let's do it like that. So there's iPad. And then I'm going to come back to the Sony. I'll duplicate it again. And we'll call this the iPhone. Okay. So we'll call that iPhone. So now on iPhone, we're just going to delete these guys and make the iPhone full screen. So now we have iPhone doesn't look bad. You know, using this camera, iPhone, that doesn't look bad. You know, iPhone is there. iPad is there. Sony is there. Okay, now we can get rid of these from Sony and that one. And we have that. So now we have the Sony, the iPad, and the iPhone. All right, now when I switch over here, I'm going to show it. Here's the Sony. Hello, Sony. Here's the iPad. Hello, iPad. Here's the iPhone. Hello, iPhone. Now, I am using the front-facing camera on the iPad. I might be able to fix that and turn it to the back camera, and that back camera might look a little better. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to look crazy better, but I have switched over to the back cam of the iPad. So let's go to iPad over here. And here is the back cam for the iPad. So let's see if that's gonna. Okay. Nah, the iPad, it looks like the iPad is using like some much older camera technology. It just doesn't look great. Okay. It doesn't look the greatest. You can really tell the difference between here's iPad with the back cam. You can really tell the difference with iPad with the back cam compared to iPhones. I closed off. Let me see. Let me open it back up. There we go. Okay, let me wipe the screen. But if I had to, I could use that iPad. I could use this, right? I could use this camera if I had to. I could use this iPhone camera set up like this if I had to. Okay, now it's on the what's this? The ultra wide. Okay, now you got it set to the ultra wide. I didn't really want the ultra wide. Okay. All right. I think this is the telephoto. I don't know. Let me see. Can I switch it one more time? Ultra wide. Telephoto. Let me see. Back camera. Oh, there's the telephoto on the back camera. Let me just get the back camera. Okay, cool. So it's not a bad image, but in comparison to the iPad, you can see it's pretty bad. And then in comparison to the Sony, it's like a TV, you know? It's like, what are we looking at here? It's like good, better, best, right? So that's the idea. All right, cool. So those would be like alternative methods for setting up. It would be methods for setting up alternative cameras. If you didn't have a capture card and a very expensive camera, you could just use your cell phone. You could also just go to youtube.com and live stream from your camera. Like, you don't have to do OBS at all. Like the setup I showed you, you don't have to do that at all, right? You could just stream straight from the phone. It's just a different world when you're streaming from the phone. Like streaming from OBS, it's just so many things you can do. When I pop into this OBS right here, it's so many things that I can do. There's so many setups that we can do because we can move this camera wherever we want, right? I can use a green screen if I want and just blow that out completely. They have text that you could put on the screen. I can put my chat over here. I could put chat on the screen. Where's chat? Boom. Now chat's on the screen, right? Like it's just like so much that you could do that you couldn't necessarily do just streaming from your phone. I have this little graphic that you see down here. That little graphic will pop up. I can add this graphic when I go over here. I can, oh, there we go. I can add this graphic in, and now I can pop up different people as they're talking. See, now DL's on my screen, and we can squeeze this down a little bit. Cool. So now he's there. Got Chris Joshua. Got Oscar. Got the McEastlands. Got DMG, right? You could just kind of, you could do those different things with OBS that you can't necessarily do if you're live streaming in a different way. Okay. So now, I'm excited. All right. What I want to do now is I want to go and I want to look at if I could just go and have it your way. If I could have it my way, what would it look like? You know what I'm saying? If I could have it my way, what would it look like? Okay, so I'm gonna turn off this one. I don't need this camera here. I think I still have iPhone is still working. iPad is still working. Sony is still working. So we're just gonna go here instead because I wanna do the best case scenario. Okay. Let me see. Where's my music? I'm gonna play some music real quick. I'm gonna take a break. I don't have no music to play. Let's go in here. Let's play this music real quick. Take a break. Come back and do the ultimate studio, the ultimate live stream setup. Ultimate live stream setup. Let me see. What's one of these I can play? I ain't played yet. A few years ago, there were professional cameramen making movies with their iPhone. That was mind-blowing to a lot of people. But then again, those were trained and experienced people, though, not me. Yeah, and they had like lighting, and they had gimbals and stabilizers, and they had like even lens. Like they had different kinds of lens that they would use. There's a lot of stuff that they was using, right? But it was the main idea is the main thing that they were using was the iPhone, you know. That was the main thing that they were using, but also it's like all this other stuff that they had with it, right? All right, but I will be right back after this. So it's doing that thing. It's hot now. So the ants are coming into the house. I just saw my first ant in the studio. I don't like that. The ants are coming in the house. All right, let's get down to some business here, all right? Let's get down to some business. First thing we're gonna do, we're gonna set this up as a list. When we're doing these things, we're gonna set this up as a list. So on the ultimate, for the ultimate live streaming setup, okay? For the ultimate live streaming setup, the way we would set this up, we would have some different things than what we were doing earlier, okay? And I'm gonna set it up as if we don't have a computer. I'm gonna set it up as if we have nothing, okay? We have currently nothing, and we wanna go and start our live streaming adventure, and we don't wanna skimp out anywhere, okay? We're not skimping out on anything. We want the best of the best of the best of the best, sir. Okay, so we're gonna have the good stuff. Okay, for this live streaming setup. Okay, I want to start with camera. Okay, so if I could have the best of the best and have my live streaming setup, okay, camera wise, what I would be starting with, I'm going Sony again because I love Sony, but instead of going with the route that I went before or the camera that I have now, I'm going to go a little higher. And the Sony camera that I want, oh man, why I can't think of it now. Well, the A7S III is a great camera. It has that flip out camera as well. The A7S III, this one has a really great flip out camera, but there's another one. Oh man, it's not an A7. It's not an A1. Oh man, what is the name of that camera? Let me see. Sony camera. Let's see. I'll see it when I see it. I'll know it when there it is. Yes. Well, FX30 is good. There's another one. There's a Sony FX. There's another one. Just the FX3. That's the one. We're going Sony FX3. Okay. The DL. I like that. That's crazy. Now that we found love. Okay. So we're definitely going with this guy. Okay. I'm going to add this to a list. This is going to be our ultimate live streaming. Ultimate live streaming. Okay. And that's just my thing. You know what I'm saying? I just want these cameras, you know. I just want this camera in general. So I would add that to cart. That would be one. And then in terms of a camera, I do also want this. I want a teleprompter. Okay. Now the teleprompter is really cool because what you can do with it, Elgato has one too. I'm interested in theirs, but I might not necessarily have to use theirs, but I am interested in theirs. What's cool about the teleprompter is when you're using the teleprompter, like when I'm looking right here, I'm just looking at a lens, and I've trained myself to be able to look at the lens. So like I'll do it. And when you're looking at the lens, you're essentially looking right at the person that's watching the live stream. So like DL, I'm looking right at you, buddy. What's good, man? Thanks for joining the live stream. You know what I'm saying? Kenny Mac, thanks for joining the live stream. All right, so this is what you could do. But if you have a teleprompter, then instead of it just looking at a lens, then maybe I could be looking at my chat, or I could be looking at even myself, like even just an image of myself talking. There's a lot of usages that you could use when you have a teleprompter. A lot of the main usages people would do is they would just use it for text. They would just use it for, oh, what's the next thing that I need to say, right? So teleprompters can be very, very useful, right? And so that would be one thing that I would do. So in my ultimate setup, I would really want to have a really great looking teleprompter. And so I've seen Elgato's, theirs looks decent. It's just a little small. And I think we can just get a little bit of a larger teleprompter. So this one is a 17-inch. This one's a 14-inch. I think Elgato is somewhere in between there. Let's go ahead and grab this one from Neewer, the 17-inch. I think that one is going to be a nice, this is an 18-inch. Ooh, might even get something like that. But definitely a teleprompter of some sort I would definitely get, okay? I also would want to have a secondary camera. I also want to have a secondary camera, but I wouldn't use a ZV-1 because it's not fly enough, man. But the 6400 is pretty decent. So I would probably get something like that because it has to have that autofocus. It has to have that, you know, that good look. So I would get something like this mirrorless camera from Sony. And then in terms of our lenses, we need to get some great lenses. So I want a 20 millimeter, Sony 20 millimeter. Let me see if they have, let me see, G Master. It might be 24. I might get something like this. Is a 1.8, 12 to 24. Yes, there's something like this is going to look beautiful, guys. This is going to be a wide camera that's going to have a really nice look. 2.8 on the aperture, but it's going to be crystal clear. We would, in our studio environment, we would want to have something a little bit more. I have a 1.4. Sometimes I need that 1.4, but sometimes I really don't. Like, the lights are pretty bright. We don't necessarily need that 1.4. It's just for the blurriness of the background. But I would want to have, in some capacity, that lens, I think would be great. Because it's so wide. So I would grab that guy, because I also want Sony lenses. Like, I don't want a Sigma or anything like that. I do want the Sony lenses. So I would maybe get one of those, and then I would maybe get something with the 1.4 from Sony. So they have a 35 millimeter. Maybe could do something like that. It's like a B cam. They have a 1.250. That's really good. A 1.250 is great. They have a 14 at 1.8. That's great as well. Nah. I would say maybe the 14, because essentially what I have now. Hey, DL, thanks for the super chat, man. Appreciate you. Man, you're a good brother. I appreciate your mind and the fact that you have the heart of a teacher and like to share practical and helpful information. Thank you. Much love, bro. Man, much love to you, man. I appreciate that, my brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate that, man. So, we got the 20. We got a 12 to 20 millimeter. We do need something with that 1.2. I think if we use one as a main cam and one as a side cam, essentially is what we would want. So 14 is a very wide lens. 14 is very wide. But I don't necessarily want the 50. Might go with the 35. Let's go with the 35. 35 1.4. I think that would be okay. So now we have 2 cameras, 2 lenses, okay, and we're almost at 10 grand. We haven't gotten anything else, but we got those 2 for sure, right? We haven't got anything else, but we got those 2. So before we talked about capture cards, right? So when we talked about capture cards, because you need a capture card in order to be able to send the information from your camera into your computer. But they have some really cool stuff. Okay, so ATEM makes, it's a capture card, but really it's a switcher. It's a HDMI switcher is what it is. And with the switcher, what you can do is you can send all of the cameras in, and then you could be able to switch between the cameras. And so this is something I've always wanted for the live stream. I do go back and forth between having an ATEM like this. Like I use that ATEM at my church, for example. So I go back and forth between would I want an ATEM or would I just want, I got 2 cameras so far, would I just want to have 2 capture cards? Typically, you don't want to have 2 capture cards unless you're going to do something like what Elgato did with their capture card. With their capture card situation, they have a capture card that you can put into your actual computer, and it's like just like this one right here. It's essentially just like having an ATEM. It will come with those ports. Let me see. Is this the one that come with the 4 ports? They have one that comes with 4 HDMI ports. We might need to go to Elgato so we could see the one that they have. This one just has that 1 in and 1 out, so no, not that one. They have it set up with multiple ones. You could do something like that as well, though, right? You could do it. You could set it up where it has multiple of those capture cards, and they're just feeding in to your computer. But in this way, you would have to have a computer that you could upgrade in that way, right? But they have other kinds. They have other kinds of these capture cards, but it doesn't look like they have them on Amazon. I want to find it because it's not this one. This is the same thing. It's just one. So if I go to theirs, let me see. Let me go to Elgato real quick. I really like. A shout out to Elgato. I like a lot of their products actually. But I think that they must have either discontinued it or they don't have it. I don't know. Let's see. Let's go to products. We're looking for capture products, capture Camlink Pro. Let me see this one. Yeah, see this? So the Camlink Pro has 1, 2, 3, 4 HDMI slots. So if you have the Camlink Pro, see this right here should just encapsulate, you know what I'm saying, essentially what we want to do. We definitely want to have a lot of this stuff. We want to have nice camera setups with a nice capture card. Okay, so that one is called the Camlink Pro. Let's see if we can find it. Camlink Pro. Camlink Pro goes right into the system as a capture card, and doesn't look like they have one. Doesn't look like they have it from Amazon anyway. Might not be able to purchase it from Elgato. See, this is the new one that they got, the 4K Pro, but it only has one in and one out. So you would need to have 4 of them versus that Camlink Pro. If you had that Camlink Pro, then it's gonna have 4 of those HDMI ins, right? See that? Yeah, bring your cameras. Independent inputs, and that's what I'm saying. See, so that way you can have in OBS, this is OBS that they're showing, you have 4 different cameras that you can use, right? That is better than in my opinion, that's better than ATEM, because on the ATEM it's only $250. That's not even a whole lot. It makes me want to grab one. On ATEM, what's cool about the ATEM Mini, for example, if I go here to ATEM Mini, what's really cool about the ATEM Mini is you have the ability, like this one, for example, you have four HDMIs. So you can have up to 4 cameras right here in their setup, right? You can have 4 cameras. And then with those 4 cameras, what you can do is you have a multi-view out. So you'll be able to see all 4 cameras. And you will also be able to switch very easily between those 4 cameras, right? But the only thing about it is like you can't put 2 cameras up at the same time in OBS. You wouldn't be able to do. It's a lot of things you wouldn't be able to do if you went with that setup. But if you were to go with the setup that I suggested, which is to use that 4K Pro, then that would be different. Then you would be able to use all 4 of those cameras just like how they have that here. But so I think that would be the world that we would go. We would go with the Camlink Pro setup, but I don't think that you have that in here. Camlink Pro. I don't think that you have the ability to do that here. Let's use this one. Let me see. Does this one have 4? This one has 4. So this is like a knockoff version of it. We'll go ahead and add it to cart. And for that case, we would need like a really good computer. And there are some pre-built computers that are pretty good. So like I think I think it's CyberPower has some pretty good computers. I would just grab a great computer from here. I would just find a computer with great specs and I would just set it up like that. So I would go over here and I would just select some things that I really need. It needs to have 4 gigahertz or higher. It needs to have a lot of USB ports. I also want it to have good RAM, whatever. They really only have this one from Alienware. If I wanted to have those 11 USB ports, we take out the USB ports though, and we could just select some different things that we wanted to have. RAM at 32 gigs, I think that's great. I think if I'm selecting certain things, it's chopping things off. So let's look at this one here. I don't want it to be Intel though. I just don't vibe with Intel necessarily. I like Ryzen. So let's go AMD Ryzen 9. And I would just find a pre-built computer that's pretty dope, and then maybe one that has some open card slots, because we need at least one open card slot for our video card. So maybe just one open card slot is just what we would need. This has a Ryzen 9 with a 4070, 12 gigabytes on the graphics card. It has 64 gigs on the RAM, 2 terabyte PCIe. I mean, this looks ready. Okay, this looks ready. TI Super 16 gig. This one has even more. This one is 2169. That looks ready. Let's grab that guy. And it's liquid cooled. Cool. So I've built my own computer. I've custom built my own computer. So that's something that I've done before. So I could custom build it again, or we could just say, hey, let's let them custom build it for us. So that would be a setup for there. Okay. We're going back for those. Well, I wouldn't use GVM. So now let's talk about lighting, because we have our cameras. We still got to do audio. We have our cameras. We have our capture card. We have our computer. We also want to, get that Stream Deck. And the one that I would select would be the XL. Loop Deck is cool too. But I would probably get the Stream Deck XL, so that way we have something where we can choose. We have our shortcuts and everything like that. So XL, yes, add that to cart. We want that there. And lighting is what I was talking about. So Aputure is the company that makes the really great lighting. So like their version of the cheaper version that I showed earlier, we would just do something like this guy, spend a little bit more, but get something that's really great, right? So I think that Aputure has some full color options. I think full color is important to be able to get, you want your essentially your fill light to be pretty good, and then you also want to be able to have some backlighting options to be able to set up your studio lighting. Okay, let's do studio lights, something to set up those studio lights, So I really do like GVM. GVM is a brand that I trust and I really like. I like that. Let's get 2 of those GVM lights with the setup that they have. And then we need to get a really good Aputure light with a nice size light dome, with a lot of wattage. So here's a great Aputure light dome that we can grab right there. Let's add that to cart. And then we want to try, so this is a 60 watt. We want something a little bit more than that. Aputure. Yeah, that looks good. 150 C's. Full color. For our main light, it wouldn't necessarily need to be full color. We just need it to be bicolored. We need it to be able to have the different color temperatures for sure for that main light. And then we got the GVMs working with us as well. So for that main light, it just needs to be able to have the different color temperatures in there, essentially. I think we want more than 60 though. Okay, that looks good. Let's grab that one. So we got a nice size main light. Okay, from Aputure. So we got a main light, we got field lights as well. Okay, lighting is important, man. That's what's gonna really give us, we need that good lighting. Okay, so we got some good lighting. We got some good lighting going in there. We got a nice big light dome that's going in there. Okay, we're gonna need a C-stand for sure for those lights and things of that nature. Might need more than one, but let's just grab one for now. Now let's talk audio, okay? Before we go microphone, we got to go audio capture card. So there was a couple of options, right? So first we looked at the Vocaster when we were on our budget side. So on the Vocaster for the budget side, if we have the Vocaster 1, for example, this is a really good deal because it's only $50. It sets you up exactly what you need: one headphone, one microphone, and you're good to go. We're starting off our build as if we have no money whatsoever, and we're trying to build up our live streaming setup, right? So we want to get the best of the best of the best, sir. And personally, in my opinion, I think Rode has the best setup for live streaming, especially in this situation. Okay, so the Rode that I like is right here. This is a Rodecaster, but I want the Rodecaster. I want the Rodecaster. I want the full thing, okay? I don't want this duo. I want the full thing. So the Rodecaster Pro 2 right here, this is the one that I would suggest. This is what I would suggest because it just has a great layout, great sound, a great interface. You have the ability to expand and not just have one microphone, but you can have multiple microphones. You could really set up your live stream to really be something really dope if you set it up this way. Okay, so one thing I did notice is that I haven't been adding it to the list. I need to add it to the ultimate live streaming. I was supposed to add that there. Okay, we're also gonna grab as we grab that, we're gonna grab this as well. The Shure. We only need one necessarily right now because it would just be for the one setup for the live stream. But those are some things that we would absolutely need. Let's check out our cart so far, okay? So we have our audio interface. We're using the Rodecaster Pro 2. We have our Shure SM7B for our microphone. This is for our live streaming setup. Got a C-stand because we need that for our lighting. So we have a great aperture light, 2 great aperture lights that we can use for our main light, fill light, as well as some color lighting, as well as a really nice light dome that we can put on there for our main light. That's going to be important so that we can get some soft light, right? Soft light coming in looks a lot better than harsh light. So you want to have that set up ready to go. And that's what we would use. We would use these GVMs for our color lights, pop lights. We have the Elgato Stream Deck XL so that we can have our shortcuts and everything that we want to be able to do with our live stream. Awesome computer. I was able to build my computer for under $1,000, and I've been able to like do some great stuff with it thus far. But if I had the ability to just upgrade it and just get some better stuff, it would look like this. I'm not big on liquid cooling. That's not what's important. But what is important is Ryzen 9, a 4070 Ti Super with 16 gigabytes. Yeah, that is a lot. I think I have like 4 gigs on my graphics card. 64 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte SSD for the main hard drive. Like that, Wi-Fi ready, like all of that, 2100, like let's do it. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? A great computer for us to start streaming with is necessary. A capture card for that system, because we need to be able to bring in these cameras. Okay, we want to have multiple cameras, so we don't want to have multiple USB capture cards. We're just going to go right into the computer. We're going to have that installed right into it. We have our 2 cameras that we had, which was a Sony Alpha 6400 and the FX3. FX3 would be the main camera coming in with that. I think we would use that 12 to 24. I think is what we would use on the main camera. And then for another camera, auxiliary camera, side camera, B camera, we would use this Sony 35 millimeter. And that would probably go on this Sony 6400. And we also got a teleprompter, 17-inch teleprompter, and that's so that we can have that's so that we could see our live stream, or just be able to see something, so that way we would not have to be looking into a camera and seeing nothing, but we could set it up. I think the only thing we're missing from here is we need some kind of display. So we would hook that up with some kind of a monitor display that we can hook up with the camera, and also have the monitor display so that we could see our chat, and we would also be able to see ourselves. Okay, so that's the setup for there. Elgato has a really great teleprompter as well, so that's another option. So pretty much with these items, these would be like essentially a really big start in terms of the tech that we would use. We have a great microphone. There, of course, are some little things that we need to get. Like, we, of course, would need some kind of a tripod for the camera. And so, I mean, once it gets connected, we might not necessarily need to move it, but we would need to get a pretty decent tripod. So we, add a tripod in there. And then the other thing that I wanted is a motorized camera slider. Really would like to have some kind of a motorized camera slider, one with enough distance. Like GVM looks like they have a really cool one right here with some distance on it. Neewer has a pretty short one, but GVM has some distance on it. So a nice camera slider to give some movement, for that secondary camera, give some movement and be able to have some movement on the live stream. There's some other things that I think just make your live stream look really good. We have lights, we have great cameras. So of course, the furniture needs to be good too. So I would want a sit and stand desk, something that can be motorized, something with a nice layout. Like this one looks like it has a nice layout. Enough space. Some of them, they kind of look kind of small, and I would need something with a little bit more space. I think that would be good to have some. This looks like it has a little bit more space than the other ones. I like the L-shaped ones, but I am looking for something that sit and stand, and I'm not sure that these are motorized desk at all. Are you going to cover editing software and video edit? Yes. Well, maybe one. I guess that was one thing that I didn't do, which is to say, I didn't look at because we went PC, we're not going to be able to use the software that I was thinking about using unless they have it now. Let me see. Ecamm for Windows. All right, so they don't have plans to make any kind of Windows version at all. I would definitely just go OBS if I'm on a PC. If I was going on Mac style, then I would go Ecamm Live. Even though it's just an extra cost, there's not a lot of things that Ecamm can do or has done that you can't do in like OBS or Prism Live. Overall, it's just an option. It's just an option. It's just depending on what system you on, what would you rather do. But you don't necessarily have to use Ecamm at all. So a nice desk, so that way we can, be able to live stream and, have that set up like that. And yeah, man, that would be it. So these items, I think these items pretty much cover what would be necessary if we were just going all out and just getting like the best of the best of the best, sir. There's only a few ways that you could upgrade this stuff. Like in terms of your audio interface, sure, you could have a much better audio interface. You could get way more microphones, and or you could have it to where it just was a better, different preamps. If you were to get something like Universal Audio, or if you were to get something in the range of, an actual mixing board or mixing console, sure, you could get your audio better. But for a live streaming setup, this thing is really great. The Rodecaster is really great for recording and for live streaming. It's just really great. Plug and play, ready to go, good to go. Could we beef up this computer more? Sure, we could definitely beef it up. But I mean, the specs that's on it now are just really great, really great specs. So I think that that's great, and I think that that PCIe slot capture card, I think that that just puts things into the next atmosphere as well. You know, versus using individual capture cards. You just have that one capture card there, and you just set up your HDMI. I think that that's just awesome. I mean, one thing that I would want to go to YouTube to see if anybody is actually using that. Has anyone ever used the Cam Link Pro PCIe? Like, has anyone ever actually used it? I'm so curious if anybody actually is using it. He has the ATEM. I've definitely seen Tom Buck talk about this. I don't think he talked about that either. I'm going to go check it out. We'll go check it out. Because it doesn't get talked about enough. Probably because you got to actually install it into your computer and stuff. What about Corel Video or Adobe Premiere and After Effects or DaVinci Resolve or Blackmagic Camera? I've never owned any professional video equipment. I would have to learn everything. Well, in terms of let's look at what you're saying, you know, piece by piece. Corel Video, Adobe Premiere, After Effects, DaVinci Resolve. So looking at those softwares, the first thing we have to notice, except for After Effects, is that those are for video editing. So those are for once you've recorded your video either in your camera or on your software, like on OBS. Once you've recorded the video, you take your files and then you drop them into one of those programs and you use those programs to edit. So this would be for live streaming and not necessarily for editing, but Premiere Pro is a video editing software. It's used for editing them, right? Awesome. As opposed to like Final Cut, for example, if you were on Mac, right? So these are not live streaming programs. These are video editing programs. These are once you already have your program, once you already have your footage, these are for editing the video, right? So I can look at something, for example. I can pull up on my computer. I'll pull up here so that you can see. This is what Adobe Premiere looks like. This is for editing your videos. So when you have your video, so this is for editing your video, right? So this is a video that I edited recently of me making a beat. And typically I would go by sections, like each of these colors that you see here. Each of these colors is just a section of the beat. So it might be like drums, pianos, melody, guitar, or whatever. So when you're editing, you know, that's a whole nother bag, right? When you're editing. DaVinci Resolve is typically if you're using Blackmagic Cinema, you know, if you're using those cameras, or if you, it's for certain kinds of people. If you use it and you feel comfortable with it, then that's what you would use for your editing software. I really like Adobe Premiere, though people have a lot of issues with Adobe Premiere. Like they say Adobe Premiere is like a little buggy and it'll freeze and crash on you. Like, you know, it's one of those that a lot of the industry standard type, you know, it's what a lot of people use. It's pretty intuitive. It's pretty straightforward. I think Final Cut Pro has a lot more plugins and things that will make it easier, faster for you to get the editing that you already see people doing. So some of the editing that you see on YouTube, they're more than likely using Final Cut as opposed to Adobe Premiere. After Effects is for like animations and stuff like that. Can you do some stuff in Adobe Premiere that you can do in After Effects? Yes, and vice versa. But Adobe Premiere would be if you have like a full length project. So like this video was 13 minutes, but it starts before it's 13 minutes, it starts off as like a full hour. And I also recently did some editing of some footage. So like this is like an hour's worth of footage that I had to like chop down into that 13-minute video, right? So a lot of me playing instruments, playing sounds and stuff like that we chopped down from the hour-long video. You know, we chopped that down into 13 minutes. Same thing with like if I pull up this file, for example, this is a editing session that I did for a client. I filmed their wedding anniversary. And then after filming their wedding anniversary, I edited it down and then put it up on YouTube so that they could view it on YouTube. And the whole ceremony was like almost 5 hours, like almost between 5 to 6 hours. So we had, you know, and then I used multiple cameras. You know, I had like I had like at least 3 cameras. The reason why the text looks like that is because that's just the text that Adobe uses. Like, I don't know why Adobe uses that text or whatever. It's not related to where I filmed. So I had my Sony to record, I had my Nikon to record, and I also had a Canon to record, and I had my iPhone. So 4 different cameras, 4 different styles. I was just well, I was just clarifying since we are reviewing the editing software. DaVinci Resolve, I don't know if it's free, but I think it's the cheapest of the bunch in terms of like once you buy it, you got it. Same thing with Final Cut Pro. I think it's $200. Once you buy it, you got it. Adobe is it's like $34, or it depends on what bundle you have or whatever. But it's per month. So I think it's like $29.99 I pay per month for the Adobe Suite. And so that gets me After Effects, Premiere Pro, Photoshop, Lightroom. It just gets you all of those things. Media Encoder, their whole suite for like $29 a month. And the way I used to justify it is like, okay, if I just get one editing job per month, I pretty much pay for the subscription, you know. And I probably could have saved half as much if I had just paid for the full year. Like, I've done it for at least the last, I don't know, at least the last 3 or 4 years. At least since like 2020. I've done $29 a month, when it's cheaper if you just pay for the year. But I never have the full amount at one point where I could just pay it. So I always just do the $29 a month. But it would be cheaper if I could just pay for the full year, especially looking back. Like the first time I've ever paid $29.99, if I just paid for the full year, I would have saved so much money by now. But that is surely the problem. And there's people today that still like, they're on older versions of Premiere. Like, I'm on the most recent version. This is 2024. I'm on the most recent version, but there are people who won't get this version because they want to stay on the version that they're on. You know what I'm saying? But so that's the difference between the editing software. You know, you get into editing, it's just about cutting, pasting, pulling, dropping, shrinking, you know, getting fancy with your edits, stuff like that.
I just want to open up and just say thank you, everybody, for attending, coming in, fellowshipping with us, you know, letting the love grow, the truth grow around us. I just want to thank everybody in the room for
And yeah, so it was a great, but like, so for me, like that's my job, or at least that's what I want my job to be. Is making videos, right? It's like creating videos. So this is what I do. I'm on YouTube. I have clients. I do events and stuff like that. So it's just like, um, if I switched, it would be cheaper. Like if I went to Final Cut, for example. So if I just use my Mac instead of my PC, and I got Final Cut, it would be cheaper for sure, right? Um, but I like Adobe. I just like it, I guess. So you just stuck paying it per month. So if you do one job per year, at that price, like you mentioned, then you've already paid for the subscription, right? And seemingly, I'm gonna like edit way more YouTube videos. Like, thankfully, YouTube is doing some things, these days, in terms of the ads and in terms of the videos that I make. Thankfully, it's making a little something. It still ain't nothing where, like, those people that make those videos where they be like, oh, this is how much I made on YouTube this month. It's still not enough for me to do. It ain't enough for me to do no video like that, to be like, oh yeah, I made this much per month. Like, it'd be like, that's not encouraging for anybody. But it's something to where it's like, oh, okay, it pays for itself. It pays for its own hobby. The hobby pays for itself. Yep, I definitely do. I definitely write it off on my taxes. If I were to create this ultimate live streaming setup that we were just looking at, if I were to create that, I would make sure that would be a part of it. You got to make sure that that is a part of it. You got to make sure that that's coming out of your taxes. You know what I'm saying? You have a business, your business generates money. Uncle Sam is like, okay, you got to pay taxes on that business, whatever money you're making throughout the year. And then you say, hey, well, not only am I making money, but I also have expenses. And for somebody like me, a nerd, that likes equipments and stuff like that, that would be totally fine for me. That would be a fine offset for me. It's like, hey, I can get all of the cool things that I want for my live stream and for my video production, for my music production. And the trade-off is like, yeah, I make money, but I spend money on those things. I think that's a worthy trade-off. So that would be the ultimate streaming setup. That would be the ultimate streaming setup. And assuming you don't have any of these things, right? Like, that's what we said before. Assuming you don't have any of these items, I could say $50. That would be the route that I would go there. All right. Whatever. Let me see. Is the iPad still working? Oh, look, iPad is still working. Wonderful. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys watching this live stream, checking out some of these items. I might actually clip up this video, of course, because it's a live stream. It's like a 2-hour live stream. So I might clip up some of these things. And instead of having it be a 2-hour live stream, I'll just kind of show like, oh, here are the setups we did. We did a under $200 setup. We did a under $500 setup. We did a under $1,000 setup. And then we did a ultimate no budget setup, right? $15,000 is what it came up to. So yeah, shout outs to that. All right. DL, of course you can ask the question, man. DL says, how do I split the channels of the redrum and send the separate channel straight to the mixer? Okay, that's an easy question, my brother. That's an easy question. Let's pull this up. I don't know why that froze, by the way, but here's reason. Let's go to Redrum. Okay, if I'm on Redrum. So here's our Redrum. Here are our what's these things? These are our channels, right? 10 channels. I go to any of these, I right click, route to new mix channel. Do that for each of these. Do that for each of these. And when you do that for each of these, each time it's gonna set up a new mix channel. See that? And when you go to your mixer, you'll see them set up down here as well. So here are all of those mix channels, and here they are in your mixer. So, and then what you could do is you just come in here and, you know, make sure that you know, name them. Go back, just kick 2. Here's clap. Here's a little snare. Oh, here's another kick, kick 3. I don't know, that's like a sleigh bell. Here's another snare. We'll put snare 2. Here's a hi-hat. Here's another hi-hat 2. And then some kind of crash. And then that's it. This one actually, this is the original one. We can go back to the rack. This is the original one. We don't have to keep it. Let me see. Delete selected only, so we can get rid of that one. And then that's how you would do that, man. That's how you split the mixer channels in Reason to their own channels. They're all right there. Then I renamed them as well. Yeah, man, anytime, anytime. I know I haven't done anything in Reason. Been taking a break of some of a sort, somewhat of a break. Why do you add the amplitude and T-Rex module in your signal chain before your mixer? You mean like this right here? Doll by Traction. No, I didn't see that Doll by Traction. I don't think so. I have to go check that comment that you're talking about. You mean, why do I put them here? Like this? This is for the guitar. Yeah, I like this. I like it. I like it here. The way I think of it is to say this is the effects of the instrument, but this is for the guitar, for the line in. So that's essentially where they would go for this guitar. Yeah, man. Take care, bro. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming through to the stream. Outputs the same way in the back like the redrum. Someone said that you can. There's some routing that you need to do that, like, let's say for example, let's pull up the OG Kontakt, for example, like not Kontakt 7 but the OG Kontakt, and then like let's say we pull up from the OG Kontakt, we're gonna pull up something. Drum Lab. Drum Lab. I like the way those drums sound, man. They sound good. Well, so this is what I mean. So you need to have a way where you can come into here and change the output. And if you can change the output, in Kontakt, then yes, you can use that. Then yes, you can use it, right? So, but what I'll say is I don't know how to do it off the top of my head. Okay, I'll say that I don't know how to do it off the top of my head because I haven't been able to do it as of yet. But some people do say that you can do it. Because essentially the first part that you're saying is when you come here, if you flip this rack, typically what they'll do, you have these optional outputs. See these optional outputs? And they work. They work, but you have to be able to set them up. Yeah, so you have those optional outputs, but the thing is like setting those outputs up from here. That's just the only other thing. It's like how do you send the audio from in here? You see what I'm saying? Like how do you send it? So normally it's basically just two outs inside of Kontakt. It sends those two outs. Oh, here we go. Okay. Create separate master output channel. So here's the output area right here. Every time I click this create separate master output channel, it creates a separate master output channel. But it doesn't necessarily, two channels routed, 1, 2. It doesn't necessarily change. This is the MIDI channel. I'm not seeing a way that you could do it from there. Let's see if I go to the other contact. Yeah, they just only come out of the main two. They just come out of the main two master outs basically. I'm saying like if I choose Empire Breaks for example. So right now they're being sent out to different. They're being sent out to different somethings. I don't know if it's necessarily being sent out to. Because it says right here, set all paths to. This is the default output. This is the sequential stereo 1. Mm-mm. 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 Can link the group. Yeah, we have to look it up, man, and see what we find, man. Cause I've never been able to. And what I always just end up doing is I just go in and I duplicate the VST. I just go in, I duplicate the VST. So I can get, like if I'm using drums, just go in and duplicate the VST. That's all I do. You know? Oh, it won't let me send a link. But type it out. Type out what did you type in to find it? Did you use YouTube? Let me see.
Your question on outputs.
Oh, here's one.
post output, this is really kind of where it starts. Have it start with an stereo one. I'm going to have it in ascending order. Delete everything. So now I have stereo 1, 2, 3, 4. Outputs, this associated outputs with Travis. Travis. Dog. Say something. And then let's just skip it. So you know, this won't take the Pro Tools to go and start. The thing that happened is created stereo track to the output. Get your stereo outputs. The host track is always
So I saw that in Pro Tools. There's a way that you can do it. I just watched one of the videos for that. I don't know. If you figure it out, let me know, all right? Let me see. My camera come back? Camera did not come back. Let me see. All right, DL, if you figure it out, let me know, man. This garage is a little warmer than I would like it to be. I'm going to give me something to eat and check out, man. I appreciate you for coming through. Deuces until next time, man. Peace.